Welcome back to another video. In today's video, I will be sharing 10 things that you may not know about Genghis Khan. Number 1. Genghis wasn't his real name. The man who would become the great Khan of the Mongols was born along the bank of the Onan River, sometimes around 1162 and originally named Temujin, which means of iron or blacksmith. He didn't get the honorific name Genghis Khan until 1206 when he was proclaimed leader of the Mongols at a tribal meeting known as Kurultai. Number 2. He had a rough childhood. From an early age, Genghis was forced to contend with the brutality of life on the Mongolian state. Rival doubters poisoned his father when he was only 9, and his own tribe later expelled his family and left his mother to raise his 7 children alone. Genghis grew up hunting and foraging to survive, and as an adolescent he may have even murdered his own half-brother in a dispute over food. During his teenage years, rival clans abducted both he and his young wife, and Genghis spent time as a slave before making a daring escape. Despite all these hardships, by his early 20s he had established himself as a formidable warrior and leader. Number 3. There is no definitive record of what he looked like. For such an influential figure, very little is known about Genghis Khan's personal life or even his physical appearance. No contemporary portraits or sculptures of him have survived, and what little information historians do have is often contradictory or unreliable. Most accounts describe him as tall and strong with a flowing mane of hair and a long bushy beard. Number 4. Most of his trusted generals were former enemies. The great Khan had a keen eye for talent, and he usually promoted his officers on skills and experience rather than on class, ancestries, or even past allegiances. Number 5. He rarely left a score unsettled. Genghis Khan often gave other kingdoms a chance to peacefully submit to Mongol rule, but he didn't hesitate to bring down the sword on any society that resisted. Number 6. Genghis Khan was responsible for the death of as many as 40 million people. While it is impossible to know for sure how many people perished during the Mongol conquest, many historians put the number at somewhere around 40 million. Although the Mongols' attacks may have reduced the entire world population by as much as 11%, the land of what are now Iran, Iraq, and Afghanistan, which were Muslims, saw even worse mass murder, in the range of 75% by the troops of Genghis Khan. We are talking about men, women, and children being slaughtered when it was completely unnecessary. 7. He was tolerant of different religions. Unlike many empire builders, Genghis Khan embraced the diversity of his newly conquered territories. He passed laws declaring religious freedom for all and even granted tax exemption to place of worship. This tolerance had a political side. The Khan knew the happy subjects were less likely to rebel, but the Mongols also had an exceptionally liberal attitude towards religion. Number 8. He created one of the first international postal systems. Along with the bow and the horse, the Mongols' most potent weapon may have been their vast communication network. Number 9. No one knows how he died or where he is buried. Of all the enigmas surrounding the Khan's life, perhaps the most famous concerned how it ended. The traditional narrative says he died in 1227 from injuries sustained in a fall from a horse, but other sources list everything from malaria to an arrow wound in the knee. One of the more questionable accounts even claims he was murdered while trying to force himself. Number 10. The Soviets tried to snuff out his memory in Mongolia. Genghis Khan is now seen as a national hero and founding father of Mongolia, but during the era of Soviet rule in the 20th century, the mere mention of his name was banned. Hoping to stamp out all traces of Mongolian nationalism, the Soviets tried to suppress the Khan's memory by removing his story from school textbooks and forbidding people from making pilgrimages to his birthplace in Kansai. Genghis Khan was eventually restored to Mongolian history after the country won independence in the early 1990s, and he has since become a recurring motif in art and popular culture. The Great Khan lends his name to the nation's main airport in the city of Ulaanbaatar, and his portrait even appears on Mongolian currency.